All right. What's up, YouTube? We are back again with the show. Tonight we are continuing with our topic, the sports. Today we're going to talk about a few things in details, and we're gonna keep it short and brief. Thank you guys who watched our previous edition, and we appreciate the feedback. As we continue, we'll keep making the show better and keep listening to what our viewers like. And we get right into it. And tonight we are with the same usual suspect, my man P5. Thank you for coming back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for
It's
having
been
me.
a pleasure having you. Our first edition did quite well. We'll grow with time. The numbers will grow. So yeah, I'll give you a chance to greet the viewers and introduce yourself.
What's up, YouTube? We're back at it again. This is episode 2 of our sports journey. So, looking forward to sharing some ideas with you guys. Stay tuned.
All right on the nail, short and sweet. So today we're going to talk about uh, the money, prize money in sports, especially professional sports. We're going to talk about sponsorship, and then we're going to talk about the number of events. How many events do we have? How many tours do we have across East Africa as a region? And then we're going to dive into a little bit of Africa as a wide. So where do you want to start with this? Should we start with events, number of events? So we know, specifically for Uganda, the Uganda Professional Open is the biggest tournament.
Mhm.
And the Uganda Professional as a board, it doesn't have more than 20 tournaments on its calendar. Not even until, like, the biggest tournament is played in November. But the professionals don't have tournaments until maybe June, maybe July.
Something that keeps them busy.
Something that keeps them busy. I guess that's the reason why we've seen that our professionals have continued to perform poorly on the local scene compared to Kenyans who quite have a number of tournaments they play locally. By the time they come to the Uganda Open, they're already in the grill. They're already in the move. So what do you think is the challenge with our professionals and the professional circuit at large of Uganda?
Well, thanks for that question. That's a really good question. But before I dive into that, the depth of that question, I always look at, anytime you look at an organization, you want to see who are the individuals that run that organization. You understand? So we have Uganda Uganda Golf Union as an entity, but then we have, from what I've heard, there's a section, or there's a committee that runs the Uganda Professionals Association.
Yes.
So if there's a committee and the board that runs the Uganda Professional Golf Association, that committee should be the one to attract sponsors. So they need to try their best to try and attract sponsors. Why? Because that's the only way that they're gonna keep their professionals busy. That's the only way they're gonna grow the game of golf in Uganda. And that's the only way they're going to promote the game of golf in Uganda. Because you cannot have a professional golf body that governs no tournament. How does that make sense? So what is the main purpose of forming that body? For what? If that body cannot reach out and attract tournaments and bring tournaments for these professionals in the country, what is their formation? What is their purpose? What are they doing? That doesn't make any sense to me. So if you look deep into that, if there are no professional tournaments in Uganda for Ugandan professional golfers, there shouldn't be a Uganda Professional Golf Association. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Yes, go
let
ahead.
me make this point real quick. Because that is the only way Ugandan professional golfers will be able to earn a living, will be able to play more tournaments, will be able to improve and gain more experience, especially for the young and upcoming professionals, will be able to compete against other professionals, especially when it comes to Uganda Open, the biggest tournament of the country. You know, so you cannot say that you have the Uganda Professionals uh, Golf Association that are run by certain individuals, but they cannot reach out to attract sponsors to come and sponsor golf tournaments in the country to keep our professionals busy and practicing and competing and improving and gaining experience. There's no way that body of the Uganda Professional Golf Association should even exist in the first place.
Yeah, you've made some good key points of the Uganda Golf Union, and then also the committee that runs the professional body. Now, this, as far as to my understanding, this is what I know. The Uganda Golf Union is supposed to be responsible for managing the sports of golf on amateur level.
Mm-hmm.
That is what it's supposed to be. But I don't know whether that is necessarily what it does. Don't quote me on that, because I've seen incidences where the committee that runs the professional association, which those members on the committee are professionals themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they wait for decisions to be made by the union, which sits non-professional golfers, for lack of a better word. The people who run the Uganda Golf Union, they are not professional. They do not play golf professionally. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Now, what I don't understand is, how can a body that is governed by, for lack of a better word, by amateur golfers, make decisions on behalf of a professional body? That is the point I don't understand.
Okay, it's I think it's very simple. Um, there's there's no governance or power.
Mm.
When I say there's no governance or power, this is what I mean. It looks like the Uganda Golf Committee, like you say, they're run by, like they're run by amateur golfers.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they sit down and they don't when they sit down and talk about tournaments, they're not talking about professional
Yes.
tournaments.
Yes.
They're talking about amateur tournaments.
Yes.
It's the same thing when we compare that. When let's compare oranges to apples. So now we're trying to compare the Uganda Golf Association and the United States Golf Association. The PGA Tour is not run by the same people that run the
USGA.
the USGA.
For example, for amateurs.
Exactly, for amateurs.
Yes.
So it's a whole different organization
Yes.
that handles
Yes.
that group. And then you come to the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour is completely run by different individuals. They are not professionals, but most of them are not. Most of them played golf collegiate, like collegiate tennis.
Mm-hmm.
They understand. Some of them played, like high-ranked amateur golf, and they understand the, the iniquities of attracting sponsors, of running a tournament, of making
Promoting
sure,
the tour.
promoting the tour and making sure that of adhering to the rules of golf. So now when we go back home, this is what we don't have. We don't have the body that runs the amateur golf association, and we don't have the body that runs the professional golf association. The body that runs the professional golf association, to me, seems like is embedded inside the body that runs the amateur golf association. So the in essence, the amateur golf association body overlooks the professional golf body, and they dictate what the professional golf body gets, and all the tournaments, the number of tournaments that they can get. Because it looks like when they go out to sponsors, they're only catering to what? To the amateur golf.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Then there needs to be a boundary. They need to let the professional Uganda professional golf body do their thing, reaching out to sponsors and asking and try to ask for sponsorship. Try to attract the sponsors. I'm pretty sure most of these sponsors
Go ahead. Yeah.
that play with these some of these professional golfers. I'm very positive that if these professionals that sit on the professional Uganda professional golf committee, if they reach out to them, I'm pretty sure they'll say, you know what, yeah, maybe we can do a tournament, one tournament here, and then maybe I might not be able to do it, but let me talk to my partners. We might be able to come together, put up a tournament. That's one. So it's like having a body of Uganda Professional Golf Association, but then have a spokesperson that represents the Uganda professionals, Uganda golf professionals. Just like they have an individual that represents players, on the.
They have a
tour.
captain.
Exactly.
They have a secretariat.
Yes,
they
exactly.
Have a body,
so they select their own peers within their own peers for representation. You understand? So when it comes to sitting down and talking about, okay, you know what, this is, like every year they'll sit down and have a meeting, players, like a players meeting, and be like, okay, what can we do to improve the professional game ranks in Uganda? That is something that, if they can find a way to get to that point, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to attract at least five tournaments before the Uganda Open. So, look at it's all about organization. Look at a country like Kenya. Kenya has always been very organized. I remember even when I played junior tennis. Junior tennis tournaments in Kenya were always very organized. I think before I came to America, I played every single junior tennis tournament in Kenya. It's just because of how well organized they are. You understand? So, and that is like when he came back home, our organizing bodies didn't have anything to offer us. The only junior tournaments that we played were like, inter schools, inter schools. I know that's how sad it is. Inter schools tennis tournament, and then we waited for the ITF junior tournaments if we hosted one.
I'm gonna break some numbers here. Every year the sports departments get money out of the national budget, and specifically, I can say this: I saw golf gets about 800 million a year in its budget.
That's for golf.
That's for golf. This information is I saw it in the New Vision, the biggest national paper of the country. Now, I wonder how that money is spent, because when you talk about facilities, I don't see the union investing they are all to make sure that we have standard, facilities. I do not see them investing heavily in the junior golf tournaments.
Absolutely.
I do not see them trying to push the professional rankings of Uganda or trying to put better tournaments for Ugandan professionals. Here and there we have tournaments like the Entebbe Open, Entebbe Professional Open. We have Chitante Open, and then we used to have Peps Open, which was which was organized by Amos Inzei. Those were a few, but those are you can even count them in your hands.
Of course.
So the biggest tournament that we have in the country is $20,000. And that is not just one person. That is a whole kitty. That's what they play for. And then the winner takes home maybe $6,000. Here in America, we have tours like APGA. APGA, they are playing for $50,000.
$50,000 purse.
You know, the winner is taking home 15,000.
Yeah.
And these are minor tours.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with the country. This is just a tour, that is a non-profit organization that is run within America. It's not the PGA of America running it. So this is the reason why we talk about these things, because the Uganda Golf Union has a responsibility to take care of golf, to make sure golf is growing, to make sure golf is going the right way. And we in the diaspora now, who have seen these things, who have seen how change can come about, we are starting to have questions. That's why we're having these talk shows. This is why we come and discuss these issues, to find out where we went wrong. What are we not doing? Because if Kenya, our immediate neighbor, is doing what they are doing and they are progressing, now they have a tour, the Safari Tour. I understand there's some tournaments that are played in Uganda, which is a Uganda Open. And then we have over 5-6 tournaments that are played in Kenya as part of the Safari Tour. Why is it that we don't have the same numbers of tournament of Safari Tour in Uganda?
I think when you get to that point, I think you need to ask yourself, why is it that we have a tournament like the Uganda Open, but even if that tournament constitutes to is one of those Safari Tour events, right? Why don't we have more Ugandan professional players that finish highly in that event? Why aren't they given exemptions? Why aren't they given exemptions into the Kenya Open?
Well, my first answer, let me first answer the first question. Why we don't have Ugandan players playing highly or finishing highly? It's because we don't have events.
Exactly. Very simple.
They're not playing.
Yeah, very simple. So the fact that Safari Tour sees Uganda Open as one of its own events, but they don't respect or honor it enough to give more than one Ugandan exemptions into the Kenya Open, tells you that they don't really honor that tournament as much as they, as much as we Ugandans honor it. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the weight behind it being a Uganda Open is not as, the way we look at it is not the way the Kenyans look at it. Because think about it this way, that's our national event. So being our national event should carry more weight, meaning that when we have players that finish in the top 5 and they are all Ugandans, let's say 3 or 2, those ones should automatically be given exemption to the Kenya Open. Why am I saying that? It's our national event, and so we take pride in that being our national event. So because of that, we need Kenya to acknowledge that this is our national event and it's a big event. So our top 5, any of our top players that finish in the top 5 should be given exemption into the Kenya Open. Because this is our pride. It's like talking about the Kenya Open. Kenya Open used to just be a Kenya Open, but to Kenyans, it was not just Kenya Open.
Yeah.
They had ambitions and plans to where they were leading with their open event. You see, they went and they reached out for DP World Ranking, and they sent their agents. They came, they scouted the golf courses. They mapped the golf courses, they walked the golf courses, and they rated the golf courses. So what did I do? That gave them the opportunity to be able to have Kenya Open as part of the DP World Tour.
Yeah.
You understand? So that is, but again, before we jump into that category of tournament, we need to go back and look at the organization, the leaders that we have in these positions. Do they have the best? Do they have the best interest of the sports in their hearts? Do they support the professional players that they have as as their own players? Because you can't tell me I'm gonna put you in a powerful position, but you don't support my agenda. You know, you don't support my idea. Okay, even if you don't support my agenda and idea, but do you have another solution of how to run this? How to run and promote this? This organization. You understand? So that is what is failing us as
As a
Uganda,
country.
yeah, as a country, and especially as sports. Sports in Uganda, I hate to say it, but like sports in Uganda died long time ago because we have people in power that when that money hits the desks, hits the desk of their governing bodies, it's like the first thing they want to see what's happening to the money. Where's it going?
Yeah.
It's like this money is not allocated to what it's supposed to do. National Council of Sports, how much money do they get budget every year?
Yeah.
You understand? So there's so much money that is allocated to all these different sports in the country, but the bodies that run those organizations, that's where the problem is. Because you can't tell me that, okay, prime example, you put out there 800 million shillings. You can't tell me that out of 800 million shillings every year, there's no junior academy.
No.
There's no junior golf academy. There's no there's no any, okay, let's say infrastructure that is being constructed and say, okay, you know what, this is what we're building as maybe let's say like a national stadium. And when I say national stadium, I'm talking about like let's say Uganda Golf Club come to number 18. That's our like let's say finishing hall, signature hall. And then you build some kind of like stand and make it look like, oh, it's a pavilion. Just like when you go to the Waste Management, go to number 16. You see, that's their signature hall. And so they build infrastructure there to make it very, very attractive, very memorable for people that come to watch the Waste Management. That is not done. Okay, we don't care about that. We just worry about the development of the game.
The standard of the golf courses.
Exactly.
Before even we get to the infrastructure of the buildings.
Then you look at the standard.
Look at the greens
that was my next point. And it's like we don't care about that. Now let's go back to how do the golf courses look? You are being allocated 800 million shillings. Okay? So let's sit down and talk and talk real sense and numbers. How much does it cost to maintain the whole golf course for the whole year? Let's go with the Uganda Golf Club. Okay, let's say those are our best golf courses in the country, Uganda Golf Club and Tebe Golf Club. Let's just take those two. So if we have 800 million shillings, why not allocate that money? Okay, and say, okay, we're not doing A, B, C, D, but we're putting more money into the golf courses. That's why the golf courses look as good as they look.
And of course, we are not counting, say, Lake Serena Golf Resort, because that is a private golf course, entity, and it's a league of its own. I believe in East Africa, I've been privileged to play in Muthaiga. I played in VetLab, and I can evidently say, man, Lake Serena Golf Resort is in a class of South African golf courses, because I played on a few of the Big Easy events when they just started. And before I even go there, let me share this story. Going back to what you said, the people in those positions, what are they doing in terms of soliciting investors, soliciting sponsorships to come and invest in the golf industry?
Yeah.
I worked hand in hand with one of the South African investors who was trying to start a tour. But at the time, that was back in 2017, 2016. At the time, he was a shareholder in the Big Easy in South Africa. Actually, we took a trip and went to South Africa, and I attended some of the meetings with him. So he was trying to make a sister tour in Uganda, whereby the people who finished top 2 in maybe 10 events would have a paid up trip to go and play on Big Easy, because the top 5 players on Big Easy get a direct entry card to sanction tour.
Yeah.
So he was trying to establish something like that. But he put that in front of the union. He put that in front of the people who were supposed to make the decision so that the tournaments can commence. Guess what happened? No responses. I'll see you tomorrow. Call me today. Just like that. He got frustrated.
Let me cut you short. I'm glad that you brought this up. Why do you think there were no responses?
I guess money. The money was not going to go through their hands.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. The money was not going to land in their hands. And you know, back at home, that is not going to happen. They want to see, okay, oh yeah, you're talking all this good talk, but are you going to give us the money to run this organization, to run this venture that you're talking about? You know? So if you're not going to put the money in their hands now, they're not going to welcome that idea. But if you're going to come up with the idea and then put money in their hands, yeah, they're going to welcome that a lot, because guess what? You put the money in their hands and nothing is going to happen. So perfect. Another way of looking at it is this, you know, like, so we have Uganda Golf Club and Entebbe Golf Club. Those are our highly looked up golf courses in the country, right?
Right.
So how are you going to tell me that we have a 800 million shillings budget every year, and Serena Golf Resort, that is a private entity owned by a private individual, how are you going to tell me that golf course is going to look way better than our two main golf courses in the country, and we have a 800 million shilling budget every year? You see that? So that shows you that the allocationing of the funds and what the money does is not of the best interest of the game of golf in the country.
Forget about the budget. Let me give you an example of Salisbury Country Club, where we play, right? The members gathered. You see the new pavilion they built, the new view on the 10th hole. They pull the money out of their pockets. It's not funded. They funded the building. That is a $1.2 million project. $1.2 million. Change that in shillings. That's $3 billion.
$3 billion, yeah.
Which is way more than the budget we have for a whole year for all the golf courses in Uganda, right? Now, the reason why I brought that, look at the rich people who play at UGC, Uganda Golf Club. You meant to tell me we can't have just 20 folks who can put aside $5,000 and be like, okay, let's build the drainage system of UGC and finish it. Or let's fix the greens to the world-class standard.
But do you know why they can't do that?
I don't know why.
No, because they already, look, we are just coming to talk about this.
Yes.
But they've seen that from the inside. Remember, they're members. So they've seen it on the inside. They know that the committee doesn't do what it's supposed to do once they get the money in their hands. Once the money hit their account, they go out there and they take the money and they do whatever they want to do with the money. You understand? So why do you think, of course you mentioned there's so many rich people back at home, but why is it hard for them to take that $5,000 and give it to the club? Because they know that $5,000 is not going to do anything. They would rather take that $5,000 and give it to a professional player that they see has a little bit potential, or that they see, okay, I just want to help.
But when is that? When is that going to stop? Because at the end of the day, if we do not change how we do things, that's why we've been deteriorating for the past 20, 30 years. Nothing is going forward. Everything is just coming backwards. We need to change something. That's why we, the young generation, and by the way, this is like a taboo back home for people like us to talk about these things.
Yeah. Because you know
what I'm saying? They expect us to just keep quiet and just watch things. No, this generation, we are not going to allow that.
See that?
We've earned all this good education. We've gone to places. We see things.
Yeah.
We may not see the change we want to see, but at least we will start the smoke.
Yeah, we see the standards.
Yeah.
We see the standards of places that we go. And I'll say this, this is more like it's more like an addition to what you were saying earlier. there is no point in us having a Uganda golf or a Uganda golf club if it's not gonna be the Uganda golf club.
Exactly. The name itself should carry some weight in it.
Exactly. And that's why I say, if we're gonna have Uganda golf club and then we're gonna have the Uganda Open Professional Championship, they should have a meaning behind them. Otherwise, we shouldn't have the Uganda Open Professional Golf Championship. You understand? So that's why I'm going back and circling back to my point that I made earlier, that when it comes to the Uganda Open, first and foremost, the budget for the Uganda Open Professional Golf as an event should be completely different from
the amateur
anything
event.
Else.
Now,
completely different.
Not to cut you short, but you see here in the newspaper, whoever comes to announce is announcing 300 or 500 million shillings as the Uganda Open sponsor. They are not. Then they end up breaking it down. Amateurs, juniors, ladies.
Yeah.
By the time they get to the professionals, they only have 100 million.
Yeah, exactly.
So you meant to tell me these professionals who are not having tournaments, who have not been competitively competing, are going to compete against the Kenyans who have been having tournaments, against South Africans
every week,
against South Africans who play week in and out on the Shashin Tour or on the Big Easy Tour, and then compete against people like who play in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
How do you expect our boys to compete and perform better?
And then they put too much demand on your head because they want you to play better. You know, they're like, oh, we want you. They put up all these incentives. Okay, it's good to put the incentives there. Okay, nobody says no to that. It's good to put incentives there for your national players, because you want to inspire them, you want to boost them up. But the problem is, golf, if you played golf, you understand that the more tournaments you play, the more experience, the more exposure, the more you become comfortable within the environment itself. So when you sit on top of the leaderboard on the first or second day or third day, you don't have to go back home and fail not to go to sleep because you're so much thinking about tomorrow or how you're going to play. You need to be in your comfortable zone where even if you're sitting on the leaderboard on the third day by 2-3 shots or even one shot, you should be able to go home and sleep and get enough rest and wake up in the morning and have your breakfast without any jitters, failing you to go to sleep, failing you to wake up in the morning and have good breakfast. Why? Because you're so much thinking about the game tomorrow, because you don't know if the way you played good today is the same way you're going to play tomorrow. You're thinking about it. Why? What causes that? Lack of experience, lack of tournaments, and lack of exposure to these situations. So our point is not to bash down the players or the organizing committee, but we're trying to put, it's not sensitizing them anymore because they know exactly what to do. They've been doing this for a long period of time. The thing is understanding that position is temporary. So if that position is temporary, when you leave that position, what is your legacy gonna say about you when you leave? They're gonna say, oh, did you try to help a few kids improve? Did you try to see the professional golf organization of the country actually elevate and move to a certain level, or did you just push it down to the ground? You understand? So those are the kind of things that we need to be looking at. And also, as professional players back at home, I think it's about time they sit down and talk to themselves and say, you know what, we want to have a say to this, because we want to pick our own leaders. We don't want the amateur ranks to pick our leaders for us. We know which kind of players we play with in our same organization who are professionals like us. We know who or which individual has the best interest of the game and that is going to go out there and represent us. Because if we put somebody out there that is not going to go and advocate for, oh, we're trying to look for more sponsors, we're trying to get more tournaments, then what's the point of having that somebody sit over there?
I'm glad you've mentioned this and brought this up. And this let I don't know what happened to the solidarity we used to have for each other. I don't know what happened to where we have to stand against something wrong and stand united as a collective. Nowadays, people get intimidated. I've had a few experiences where the professionals were going to vote their leadership, and then they get intimidated by someone who is threatening them. If you don't vote for me, well, this will happen. Or they want to buy favors. I have to vote this person so this person can be nice to me. That is not the right way of doing things. You have to hold your leaders accountable. If you know someone is not going to be good enough in that position, why would you vote him to
Why
be in
give
that?
him the power?
So, and I want to say this. I want to appreciate each and everyone in any leadership role on the Gulf Union, on the any position in terms of sports that is doing what they are supposed to do. You know, I'm not going to mention names, but anybody that is doing the right thing, that is pushing forward, even though there is a lot of forces of resistance, normally when you're doing the right thing amongst people who are not seeing value of it, it's going to be resistance. So I want to appreciate all those individuals who do the right thing and push the sport forward. Golf is a very lucrative sport, but our professionals in Uganda are one of the most poorest golf players that I know of.
Very true.
When you look at their kits, look at how they dress, look at their golf bags, look at they are playing golf for survival mode.
Yeah.
A corporate guy comes, wants to play a round of golf, and then calls a professional, come and give me a round of golf, and they're going to give them 20,000 shillings. How much is 20,000? That's how many? $4, $5?
Yeah.
A whole professional player.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very frustrating to talk about, especially for our country that we so dearly love, But the bottom line is this: we're gonna get to a point where we we don't have professionals anymore. Why? Because first and foremost, the country needs, the organization needs to look at these professional golfers and look at their background. Let's take one individual at a time and look at their background. Where do they come from? What do they have? You understand? So it's like you see somebody that has come from nothing, but the amount of talent that he has on that green grass is unbelievable. Why would you deny that individual the chances of him or her to go as far as he can? If you only supported him, just held on his hand and pulled him just a little bit and gave him kits and gave him the direction to go play in tournaments, expose that individual, and and sponsored him, even found him a few sponsors, even if you don't find him sponsors, but you have an allocation of 800 million shillings, okay, you can say, okay, we as the Uganda Golf Union, we decided we're gonna handle this individual as our project, and then we're gonna do everything that we're gonna do is it's gonna be by Uganda Golf Union, and it's gonna come to the golf attire Uganda Golf Union, golf bag Uganda Golf Union, and then give the individual a chance to build himself, and then once he gets there to to that level that everybody expected of him, then people are gonna be, okay, you know what, now you got to this point, now we feel like you can support yourself, you can stand on yourself. Now it's time for you to do what? It's time for you to move on, because now we're picking up on somebody else. Yeah. So you build I keep saying this, but the journey to any destination begins by one single step.
Rome was not built one day, man.
You understand?
Yeah.
So if you pick up one individual, then maybe six months down the road, you pick up another individual. or maybe even a year down the road, you pick up another individual. Guess what? You're helping these others that are down here understand that, okay, you know what? I need to work hard now. I need to work harder because I need to be as good as him, if not even better than him, so I can get this opportunity, you know? So that is one way of doing it. You know, the other way of doing it, I would say, let's put let's come up with maybe, let's say 3 tournaments. You know, maybe we don't have enough money for 5 tournaments. Let's come up to 3 tournaments. Those 3 tournaments, let's have, you know, 72 hole tournaments, 72 hole playoff on those tournaments, and let's play and pick out the top 2 individuals in those tournaments, and then try to find sponsors for those 2 professionals, or as the organization come up with the way of supporting these 2 professionals. That way we have an image of Uganda Professional Golf Association. When it comes and they say, oh, who are the top 2 or who are the top professional golfers in the country, those are the ones that stand out. And how do they look? They look like professional golfers. You understand? So it's one step at a time, one step at a time. But again, that is not going to happen if we don't have good and proper allocation of funds and individuals that are in the organization that want to see the game of golf grow in Uganda.
Yeah, and as we come to conclusion of today's episode, I want to say this from the bottom of my heart. There's a period around 2022. You know, COVID hit Uganda late because by the time Uganda experienced COVID, here in America, we had already gone through it. Mm-hmm. I started putting up my own money to organize money games for professional golfers from my home club. This is a true story. Entebbe. Every 1st of the month and every 31st of the month, I used to put up $100 every 1st of the month for professional players. And I did that for about 5 months. I had a summer gig.
Yeah, because there were no tournaments.
There were no
tournaments back at home. You can't travel.
I didn't want to give them the money just like that.
But let them play for
I wanted them to stay doing what they love to do.
Yeah.
And maybe get ready by the time the tournaments come.
Yeah.
They will have a bit of momentum to go on.
Yeah.
If me, who is a nobody, can do that, I'm sure out of the 45 million people in Uganda, someone can do that. We raise by lifting others.
Yeah.
I'm using this opportunity to call on all the corporate companies. MTN, I know you guys sponsor some of the monthly mags, but those are amateur events. Guys, take on the professional side of the field. Stanbic Bank.
Yeah, we're not saying there's anything wrong with developing the amateur ranks, but we're talking about, giving the Uganda Professional Golf section a chance to have a feet that they can stand on. You know, let's say MTN or or Airtel or Stanbic Bank or MTN. If any of you decide and say, you know what, I want to take over the professional ranks. I want to handle the professional ranks. I mean, I don't understand how your marketing department looks at this, but to have a professional side of golfers that are playing in your event, where your t-shirts, your hats, your golf bags, everything is the representative of your company. There's nothing else sells more than that. If you have them all dressed up in your company, outfit, logos, everything shining, hats, your company. I mean, there's no more better marketing strategy than that. And this is what I'm saying. If you take that ownership and then sponsor maybe 1 or 2 events a month, 1 or 2 events a month, and just focus on the top, the top performers. Let's say the top 5, Give everybody a chance, but aim at the top 5 and see. Okay, if I hold on to these top 5, where are they? Where am I going to go with them? What direction am I going to go with them? And if they are very promising, guess what? They can, they're going to market your brand to Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda when they go to play. They're going to be out there representing your company. When they make it to big ranks, guess what? When they go out there and they play and they win, guess who won that tournament? Your company just won that tournament. So that in itself is not just supporting an individual, but marketing your company. And that's how I look at it if I was a company and trying to help this Uganda Professional Golf Association.
Yeah, and let's stop at looking at everything in terms of profit. Sometimes we just gotta do things for the love of the country,
Love
man.
of the game.
Love of the game, man. I don't know no CEO in Uganda that doesn't play the game. But y'all just want to come and just play and just leave the game as you found it. That is not fair. Anyway, as we come to the end of this segment, we are sorry that if we've offended and hurt feelings to the people who are in charge. But we are saying these things because we are concerned citizens. We've seen things with a bigger eye from the diaspora, and we know that it can also be implemented in our home countries. We want best for our people. We want best for the sport to grow so that we can also be proud of where we come from. We wear our country to our sleeves here, and we are proud to be associated with the game that has brought us here, the game that has made us who we are. And we want to see our people who play the game professionally do better for themselves and also create a life and a living out of it. And as we come to conclusion,
Let me say one thing.
I'm gonna give you a chance in a minute, but please don't miss the next segment. This segment has been about the professionals. Now, next segment we're gonna dive deep into amateurs. Amateurs who played on the national team. 99% of the amateurs who played highly competitive golf on the Ugandan calendar on the national team don't have nothing to show for that. Please don't miss out, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not sorry for I'm not sorry for speaking my mind, but the thing is, we can agree to agree or we can agree to disagree. But you don't see, you know, you don't see your kid out there, peeing on the bed, like literally runs from outside and pee on the bed, and you don't tell him or her that you can't pee on the bed. You know, you always gotta try to teach them and show them exactly the right thing to do. So, we can agree to agree or agree to disagree, but the bottom line is, something has to be said, and we can all work together and see how best we can help develop the game of golf in the country. I mean, yeah, our professional, like our sports in general back at home is not as sound as it should be. But you know, we can only do so much, and we can only advocate for I guess for the side that we belong to. So we want to see at least something be done, and we're not bashing on anybody. We're not pointing fingers at anybody. We're just saying, as to the body that is responsible, reach out and do the right thing. There's gonna be there's gonna be a little bit of change here and there. That you might have would be like, okay, you know what, this is the leftover. Okay, we can go have a few drinks on this and that, but put it to the right use. Don't completely forget about what it's supposed to be doing, and the main thing is, don't forget, you're not only uplifting that one individual that might be a talented individual, but you're lifting your country as a nation. And when you do that, guess what? They will always remember you being in that position, and they will always remember that you're the one that made that happen. So with that being said, we're not here to point fingers at anybody, but we're here to share ideas and suggestions. And by the way, This is a big shout out to Dr. Gomesiriza. That is the gentleman that actually introduced me to the game of golf. So even though I caddied for him, he was the guy that was, oh, Patrick, you know what? Since I'm playing by myself, you want to play with me? And he would ask me actually to play with him. He's the one that actually showed me how to swing a golf club. So much as I was a caddy, he didn't see me as a caddy. He saw me as somebody that helped him, navigate the golf course, carried his bag, and found his golf balls when he hit him in the rough here and there. But the connection, the connection was inseparable because both of us benefited from each other, and that's the kind of that's the kind of camaraderie, especially coming from a country like Uganda. That's exactly what we need. Somebody that has means, reaches out to somebody that is struggling and grabs on their hands and pull them out just a little bit, give them just a little bit of more, something that they can look up to, something that intrigues them to want to work more, something that makes them believe in themselves. And that's all we're talking about.
Yeah. As we conclude, I also want to give a big shout out to my people. If it wasn't for this group of guys, I don't even know what I would be here. Kabalaza, could have been worse. Mubiru, Enoch, and everybody else. And then another big shout out to my man Charles Odere. Charles took me in as a father that I never had. He looked after me from moves, guided me. He paid for my flight the day I was supposed to fly to America. True story. I didn't have my ticket. My flight was supposed to be at 11 p.m. at night. By 12 p.m. daytime, I didn't have my ticket. I had to chase him around on the border so that he can buy for me a ticket. Shout out to Charles Odere. Thank you so much. Professor Sejaka, man. Professor Sejaka used to, when I was in MOOBS, he used to call me and come and tell me to come and play with him, 9 holes. And this man would tell me, I know you're broke. I know you don't have anything. Here's $100. Make sure you're okay at school. And he would pay for my subs. So we need more people like that.
So if you can do that, I give you $100. There's more.
There's more. Please, we need more people to reach out. Anyway, as we come to conclusion, thank you guys. Share this, like, comment. But we are going to have another edition tomorrow about the amateur golf. Today was specifically for professionals. We love all our professionals. Tolit, Dewa Kope, Vincent Biamukama, all my professionals, those that I haven't mentioned, Kato Davis, I love you all. Peace and love for God and my country. Thanks for the show, man.
As always, boy.
Yes, sir.